Today we'll be learning how to create a powerful competitive analysis using AI in your own specific industry and get all the insights to get the competitive advantage that you need. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So what exactly are we going to be building today? So for today's automation, we will be able to build a powerful competitive analysis like this, where we do have the latest updates on your competitors' websites, the changes made to it every single week or every single day. And we could also have competitive reviews on the key strengths, the key weaknesses, emerging trends, strategic recommendations, and so on and so forth. And all these can be done using AI to help you scrape the internet, to scrape your competitors' websites and their reviews to help you get a kickstart in your specific industry. Now, of course, if you're watching this video, I believe you fall into one of the two categories, either as a business owner or an AI enthusiast, right? And if you're a business owner, this competitive analysis tool could be super effective to help you get a kickstart in your own specific industry. Now, if you're an AI enthusiast or someone that wants to create your own business, you could then create all this competitive analysis and sell it to businesses and creators to help them get ahead in their work and earn hundreds to thousands of dollars per month using this specific automation. And I know this because companies actually pay hundreds to thousands of dollars for competitive analysis like this on a weekly basis to help them improve and excel in their own industry. So the sky is really the limit here, and let's get right into the building to see how we can build this workflow today. And so to get started, for the first part of our automation, we want to use Airtable today to consolidate all the information of our competitors all in one place, right? And Airtable is a fantastic app for this. And so I've built a simple example over here, but I'll just run you through on what you need to do in Airtable. So very easily, you want to create a base first, right? And I'll call this base competitive analysis automation. Right? Once that is done, we're going to have a couple of fields. The first field is a text field, and we're going to call it name. And this is where we're going to have the name of our competitors. Secondly, we want to have another text field, which is the website, and this is where we're going to put in the website of our competitors. Thirdly, we want to have another field, which is also text, and this is a reason on why they are a good competitor. You can see over here, there's a couple of reasons that we have over here on why they're a good competitor in the blender industry. So not to worry, I'll teach you on how you can actually get all this information later on with AI as well. All right, and we're going to have a couple of empty fields that our automation will help to update for us, such as the next field, which would be the long text field for our website copy. This is where we're going to get all the information script from the website. Next field would be changes. This would be for us to update whether is there going to be a change made in the website or not. And the next one will also be a long text field, which is changes made, which helps us see what are the changes that have been made in the website itself. Afterwards, we're going to have another long text field, which is reviews, and this is where we want to put in the link to get all the reviews from our competitors. And so one of the websites that you can use is Trustpilot, where they do have a couple of different reviews from the customers to help us understand what they like and what they do not like about this specific product. Lastly, we want to add in a review sentiment as well, where later on GPT will help us create sentiment analysis from each of our competitors to give us powerful insights for our analysis. Following that, in Airtable, two of the most important fields for automation is created time. So you can see over here, created time as well as last modified time. Right, this is super important for us to get the automation to run perfectly from Make. All right, and lastly, I do have three specific fields, and this is a simple example of what I'll create, let's say, to service a specific client. So let's say for today's example, we will be looking into the blender industry, and a client came to us, or we could be the client ourselves, called Power Blender, that wants to figure out how they can excel in the blender industry, to figure out what they're doing well and what are they not doing well. How can they leverage this information for new opportunities in this industry? So we want to key in the client name, which is Power Blender for this example, and a client email, which we have created called hello@powerblender.com. And lastly, to have the client industry, which is the blender industry. So these three fields are created by me, and I'll put it in over here. But of course, how do we get all this information about our competitors, right? So one way is if you already have information on the links of your competitors, you could put it in. If your clients do have information about that, they can put it in as well. But if not, you can use something like Perplexity AI to help you find all this information online, right? So what I did actually was to go to Perplexity and ask it to search for the top 10 fruit blender company in the world and provide me with a table with the following information: the name of the company, the website link, the reason, and the Trustpilot review link. From here, it's given me all this different information, reasons on why they're a good competitor, and also the Trustpilot link. And from here, I just have to copy all of this information and paste it into the Airtable. So for today's simple example, we're just going to use 7 different companies just to keep it short and simple. But of course, for more complex use cases in your own businesses or for your clients, you can definitely go way more in depth as well. Now, once this is done, Airtable is sort of complete and we don't have to do too much changes to it. Okay, the next thing we want to do is to go into Make and start creating our scenario. So first off, we're going to create the first scenario. I'm going to call this competitor analysis 1 out of 2. We're going to have to use 2 scenarios today to make this workflow work. Okay, and the first scenario we're going to build is something that looks like this. That allows us to firstly get the updates of the copy on the website of our competitors, as well as providing us with a sentiment analysis as well. So what this would do is to update the blank spaces in our Airtable over here, such as the website copy, the changes made perhaps each week or each day, as well as a review sentiment gathered from the review webpage. And this will ultimately give us way more information to create powerful and complete analysis for our competitors. Okay, so how are we going to build this workflow, right? The first module we're going to create is an Airtable module, and we're going to click Search Records, and we're going to look for our base, which is the competitive analysis automation. Make sure to connect your API and get your base connected before you continue from here. And you just have to choose your table, table 1, and the limit. We can keep it as 10 for now, as we only have about 7 fields to use for today, so that will be more than enough. We're going to click OK and done. We're going to click Run Once and make sure that it's running correctly. And we do have all the information from all of our competitors, so it's cool. 7 bundles all in total. And let's move on to the next one. We're going to add in a router, and this is for us to separate the automation. And the first part would be for the website copy, so we're just going to write this down. Website copy. The second one is for the sentiment analysis for the reviews. Okay, so let's start building the first one first, which is to scrape our competitors' websites for information. You can see over here, we do have all the websites of our competitors, and we're going to use them to get the information that we want. Alright, before we continue, I do have all my resources in the link in the description below, so do download them to be able to follow through more easily and quickly. Coming back, we're going to create our next module, which is a HTTP module. And we're going to select get a file, and from here we're just going to select the URL, which would be the website. Next module we're going to create is a text parser. We're going to select HTML to text. This allows us to convert all the HTML information in the website into text. So we're going to select data and click OK. Done. Before we continue, we do have to modify the website in the HTTP module. And why is that so? Because over here, the websites that we have do not have the full URL with HTTP, and that's necessary for it to read perfectly. Okay, so we just have to add in to the front HTTP and finish it up. And now the formatting should be good. And from here, let's click Run Once and see what happens. Alright, and done. You can see over here, it should have the output with all the text information that we can use from the website later on. And so moving on, the next thing we want to do is to use a GPT to help us get any updates to the website on a weekly or daily basis. So what I like to do is to create a custom GPT for this specific use case. And so I've created a custom GPT over here called the GPT Website Updater. And to use a custom GPT, you do have to go to platform.openai and create a developer account. And once that is done, you can come into Assistants and create a custom GPT. I really love GPT Assistants as it allows us to create custom agents to help us do work in a specific format. Okay, and so for this specific case is to update the website. And so I give it a couple of information such as the role for it to be a competitive website update analyst. I will be providing it with 2 versions of the website copy. So it will be the previous version, which is what we will have in the Airtable over here, which as of now isn't really updated yet, but it will be updated later on. And on a weekly basis, this information could change, and that's where we're going to have the current version, which will be run through the text parser in our Make automation over here. Okay, and what we want to ask it to do is to compare both of them and to give updates to Airtable. So let's say if there's a change made recently, the Airtable view over here, changes made, will be updated to having changes, and if not, it will be updated to not having changes. And from here, we'll be giving out the changes that's made so that we can get all this information for our analysis later on. Okay, so coming back, I do give it a couple more information such as a JSON output format, and this allows us to update in both specific fields such as the changes and changes made at the same time. I'll show you more of this in a short while. I give it other information like specifics, examples to help you understand what is the exact output that we want. So it's very specific to a JSON output like this, with the changes and details provided for all different scenarios, right? Such as when no changes are made, as well as when updates are made to the website as well. And so this helps to really narrow down the function of the GPT just for this use case. In the span of time, I can't really go into too much detail on how to create your own custom GPT, but if you want to learn more about this, do check out my prompt engineering guide, link in the description below, to learn how to create your own custom GPTs in the most effective way possible. Okay, I'm going to click save over here. Right, and once this is done, we're just going to come back to Make. I'm going to click a new module, OpenAI, and we're going to click Message and Assistant. Okay, and very easily, once we have all the prompts created, we don't have to type in anymore. So we just have to search for the assistant, and it will be the GPT website updater. I'm going to give it a simple message over here. We want it to know where he can get the information of the previous version as well as the current version. So I'm going to paste it over here. There are two different versions of text from the website. The previous version would be the website copy over here that's found on Airtable, and the current version will be the text from the text parser. So every time we run it, we will be able to firstly check the information from the Airtable, and then we'll check the latest one, which is scraped from the website right away. From here, we're going to scroll down, we're going to click Show Advanced Setting, and we're going to choose the response format to be a JSON object. Now this is important, and we want to make sure to pass JSON response as well. Okay, we're going to click OK and done. We're going to change this name to our website updater, and we're done. We're going to run once and let's see what happens. So click run once. All right, and here we go. Let's take a look. You can see over here that the output is actually categorized into two different areas, changes and details. And this is the point of using the JSON object, as it will allow us to update two different views, right? The changes as well as the details of changes for Airtable. So this is very good. And now we can go into our final module for the website copy, which is the Airtable module. Right, we're going to search for Airtable once again, and we're going to click update a record, and we're going to choose our base, which is the competitive analysis. The table will be table 1, and the record ID will be ID. And now we're just going to update a couple of records. So the website copy will be the text, the changes will be the results, changes over here, changes made will be the details. And that's all. Done. Click OK. And we're going to run once again and see what we get. Okay, beautiful. So we can go back to Airtable now, and you can see it has been updated. We do have the updates, the changes made, and so on and so forth. We got a website copy, we got the changes. Okay, now coming back to Make, we're going to complete the second part of this specific scenario, which is the sentimental analysis from the reviews. Same thing here, we're going to click HTTP, get a file, and this time the URL would be the reviews URL, and we're going to click OK. And similarly, we're going to create a text parser, HTML to text, and we're going to choose the data, and we're going to click OK, done. And the next one we're going to do is to get a GPT to create sentiment analysis from the reviews on Trustpilot. So going back to OpenAI Assistants again, I've created another GPT over here, so do take a look. I do give it some information, telling it to analyze the reviews and to provide analysis in a specific format for us, such as providing us with the overall sentiment, the key strengths, the common complaints, and the customer's expectations and unmet needs. I'll give it a couple of examples as well, and that's all we need to do to create the sentiment analysis agent. Once again, you can get access to all my custom agents linked in the description below, so do check them out. Okay, once this is done, we're just going to go back to Make. We're going to message the assistant once again. We're going to choose our sentimental analysis, and we're going to give it a message. And this time around is a really simple one. We want to give it access to the reviews that we have gotten from Trustpilot. We just have to type this into the message tab, and we're going to click OK and done. All right, we're going to change this name to sentiment analysis. Okay, lastly, we just have to add in a Airtable module, update a record, the base, the table, record ID, and we just have to add in the review sentiment as the result over here, and that's it. Perfect. Now let's save this and click run once again and see what happens. Alright, and done. Let's check out our Airtable again to see what happens. As you can see, it's been updated, so we do have the changes, we do have the review sentiment created over here. So let's take a look at the review sentiment. Pretty cool. It does have the total reviews, analyze the sentiment breakdown, the key strengths, common complaints, as well as customers' expectations and unmet needs. Now that we have all the information updated in Airtable, the last thing we want to do is to be able to consolidate all this information and create a proper analysis and consolidate it into a document for our client or ourselves to use more effectively. So in order to do so, we're going to save this scenario and we're going to create our second scenario, right? We're going to move back and we're going to create a new scenario, and we're going to call this competitive analyses 2 out of 2. Okay, and so in this new scenario, the first thing we want to do is once again to create an Airtable module, and we're going to click search records, choose our base, the table will be table 1, and we're going to select all of the output fields and click OK. The next module we're going to add in is an array aggregator, and we're going to select all the fields over here as well and click OK, done. Now let's run it once and see what happens. Okay, now I should get all the information that we want over here. So same thing, the bundle and all of that. Perfect. Okay, the next module we're going to add in is an iterator. Okay, we're going to search for an iterator. And we're going to choose the array. And this time we're going to choose the changes as well as the changes made. Right, so this first iterator will actually help us create a list of all the different changes and changes made for review later on. Right, so for example, let's say in our competitive analysis, we're going to have a weekly update on the competitor's website, right? Imagine this analysis is passed to your client or your company every single week. It will give us update every single week, whether is it nothing to update or whether is it something significant to be updated as well in the front part of it. And so we want it to be returning for every single one of our competitors, right? And so we do have 7 competitors in this specific example. So we're going to copy this and we're going to paste it 7 times, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to name it accordingly. So we're going to type in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the last one 7. All right, and click OK and done. Before we continue, a mistake made. We're going to change the first part into the name instead of changes so that we know which competitor has these changes made, right? So we're going to click into array and we're going to choose name, and similarly we're going to give it a number 1, and we're going to update the rest of them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the last one 7. Okay, now let's click run once and see what happens. Okay, perfect. If you look at the value, we do have the different updates. So you can see over here, Hamilton Beach, the current version has added in this. Vitamix, it has some updates. Blendtec, nothing to update. NutriBullet, nothing to update. KitchenAid with some updates over here as well. Perfect. Okay, let's rename this before we move on to make it easier. So we're going to change this to website updater, and we're going to add in another iterator module once again, and this time around we want to use it for the sentiments, right? So similarly we want to have a list of sentiments for all 7 of our competitors as well. So we're going to choose review sentiment, we're going to give it a number in between, copy this, and we're going to paste it 7 times below and renumber all of them 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And once that is done, click OK. And we're good. Rename this to sentiment analysis. Okay, and let's run once again and see what happens. So same, we have all the sentiments all consolidated in one place. The next part we want to do is to get our GPT to create the final product for us. And that will be the copy for the full analysis we want to have over here, such as the competitors' website changes, as well as the competitors reviews. And so for the next one, I do have another GPT assistant, and this time is a review analysis creator. Taking a look at what I've wrote in the custom GPT, I give it a task to create a comprehensive report, right, inclusive of the different components such as the executive summary, the customer sentiment analysis, what customers love, what frustrates the customers, emerging customers trends, strategic recommendations, and so on and so forth. I give it an output template over here that you can use to copy as well, and some examples over here for the GPT to understand what we want to create. Okay, and once this is done, we're going to click save and we're going to go back to make, and we're going to add another module, which is ChatGPT, message and assistant. We're going to choose our assistant, the review analysis creator, and we're going to give it a message. We're just going to let it know where the reviews are at. So we're going to type reviews, and we're going to give it the value from the sentiment analysis to give it all the different reviews from all our competitors so that it can consolidate all of them into one. Once this is done, we're going to click OK, and that's it. Rename this to review analysis creator. The next thing we want to do is to create our final output, which is a HTML output that could be used to create a PDF file like the one that we have earlier on. The next thing I'm going to add in is just to create a completion, and we're going to just add in a GPT prompt from here. We're going to choose the model to be GPT-4o, and we are going to add a message. The role would be user, the text content, and I have created the text content earlier on, so I'm just going to copy and paste. You can download them and modify accordingly. Alright, so let's run through this whole prompt together. Firstly, what I'm going to tell it to do is to create a professional HTML document for us optimized for PDF rendering. So this HTML document will be utilized to create our PDF document later on. Right, so I give it some requirements such as the valid HTML5 code to start with the format that we want. We want it to not include any other unnecessary information as well. Right, so we're going to move down to the next part, which is document specification. We want to give it the title. Right, so I'm going to tell it what title we want to use, which would be in this case client industry competitor analysis. Right, you can see over here, this will allow us to have this document to be named as such, like vendor competitor analysis, right, for this specific use case. Okay, and then I'll give it the information for our document. Right, so there are two sections in the specific analysis that we are creating today. The first is the competitor's website changes, right? So I'm going to tell you to add a brief introductory paragraph explaining the importance of tracking competitors' updates. We want it to use data from the website updater to create a detailed bulleted summary for each competitors, right? We're going to highlight significant updates using clear bullet points and conclude with a short summary paragraph about the key insights. Following that, we do have the second section, which is the competitors review, right? This is where we're going to add in introductory paragraph summarizing the importance of customer sentiment analysis. We're going to give it subheadings with bold text for things like executive summary, key strengths, key weaknesses, emerging trends, as well as strategic recommendations, right? And following that, I'm going to quickly run through the rest of it, such as the footer, a simple design to write simple things like prepared by Dynamic AI, by Cal, the competitive intelligence analyst. I'll give it some design and formatting guides, such as the font that we want to use, such as Open Sans, the size, the section heading, and so on and so forth. Last but not least, I also gave it a final output example so that GPT can reference. So I do have a simple HTML structure to follow, and I'm just going to update all of this information over here. Firstly, how it would look like to have the title being shown, and so on and so forth. So you can use the one I have over here as a simple example to kickstart, and you can use ChatGPT or Claude to help you further enhance and modify this code to make your document look closer to what you want. Once this is done, we're going to click OK. I'm going to change this name to HTML converter. Once you have this, we're going to have two last modules. The first is pdf.co to help us translate all of this HTML into a beautiful PDF document. And lastly, it will be a Gmail module for us to send the email to our clients or to ourselves with the full file of the analysis. So if you haven't, do create an account in pdf.co and get your API key over here. And they do have a free trial for 1 month. It's really cheap, and they do give you 10,000 credits to start, so you can definitely play around with it as much as you want. Okay, and once that is done, we're going to come back. We're going to add another module. We're going to search for pdf.co. Okay, from here, we're going to choose the convert type HTML to PDF. And over here, inputting the HTML code, we will choose from the HTML converter. The output file name, we can put something like the client name, competitive analysis. All right, orientation is portrait, and we can keep the rest of them the same. Export type, download a file. Okay, done. All right, and lastly, we're going to add in a Gmail module. So we're going to search for Gmail, create a draft. We're going to choose a folder. We're going to choose drafts. And the email address will be the client's email address that we have created over here. Subject, we can have the client's name, competitive analysis report. And for the content, I'm going to add in this HTML file that I've created, and I'm going to show you how I create this one. Okay, so I'm just going to update all of this information over here, right? Client industry. Okay, and so this HTML code is basically how our email is going to look like. And real quick, I'm going to show you how I created this. Before we end off, we want to make sure to add an attachment. Choose the file from PDF code. This is to make sure that we get the PDF file created. Okay, so how do I create this specific HTML, right? I use a simple free HTML editor such as HTML5, editor.net. And over here, I'll type in the design of the specific email that I want, right? So for example, it could be something like the full 36 client industry market competitor insights. Right, so this specific bracket over here is where we map the different fields from our make automation earlier on. That includes information such as the client name, so I can say hello to the client, and other information such as the highlights of the report, how to use this report, and so on and so forth. So very easily you can use something like this to design your email. And once this is done, you can just copy this HTML code over here and paste it in your make automation. You could also use ChatGPT and Claude to further enhance your code, and I find that to be very effective. Okay, so once this is done, we're going to click save. And this time let's run it once again and see what happens. Okay, now it's done. Let's check out our Gmail and see what we get. Let's take a look at the draft. So beautiful, it has it sent to the Power Blender email. It has the format exactly like the way we want it. And we do have this analysis that we can download, so let's check this out. Right, beautiful. It does have all the different information over here, such as the competitors' website changes, the competitors' reviews, key strengths, key weaknesses, emerging trends, strategic recommendations, and so on. It does have the format that we want, prepared by Dynamic AI, and so on and so forth. And so that is it. Now you can create your very own powerful competitive analysis in either your own industry or your client's industry and have it updated weekly and daily to get the latest insights in your own specific niche. This is a super powerful automation. I find it to be something that we can use right away today. If you like videos like this, do give it a like and subscribe and check out my other videos on more AI automation tutorials. Till then, I really appreciate you and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.